Welcome to the MS Dev Show, episode number 129, a very special live episode of the MS Dev Show with James Whittaker and Dona Sarkar, talking about data and much, much more. I do want to warn you, there is some swearing in this episode, so please be conscious of that. Special thanks to Laura Butler for bringing her amazing cookies. Also, special thanks to Concurrency for helping sponsor the event.
This episode of the MS Dev Show is brought to you by Infragistics, providing tools and solutions to accelerate design, development, insights, and collaboration for any organization.
Today we have James Whittaker, Distinguished Engineer. How's it going, James?
Very good.
Yeah, we're here at the boardwalk at Microsoft Commons, which is really cool. They opened up just for us.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
They like me. I'm a regular here.
Yeah. What's going on here?
Nancy, thank you.
Your winter ale.
Thank you very much.
And what would you two like?
I'll take an amber ale.
All right.
I'll just take an ice water for the time being. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What, how does that work, James? She just shows up with a beer for you?
Oh, that's right. You had to order, didn't you?
Yeah. What's going on?
You're doing something wrong, man. Actually, this is a pretty good segue into talking about data.
Yeah.
So Nancy, my bartender, she knows about me, right?
Mm-hmm.
She has data about my drinking habits. She understands that I like to start a little malty, less hops, and kind of progress through all the way to the IPAs, 7 or 8 beers later.
Yep.
And she didn't know anything about you all. She
Yeah.
had to take your order.
Yeah, I just met her tonight. She's great.
So this is UI. And you've probably heard the buzz about invisible UI. You just witnessed it right there.
Yeah.
That's invisible UI. I placed an order. I got a drink, right? I had an intent. My intent got resolved with nothing in the way.
Okay. How do I do that with Cortana?
That's invisible UI. Well, Cortana is the start at invisible UI. You speak what you want, and sometimes she just intuits what you want.
Yeah.
She looks at your calendar. See, this is all data. What's happening in the world is the entire world is being reduced to data. This is why cars can drive themselves now. They used to not be able to do that because the data wasn't available, right? Think about, hold on the self-driving cars, because I do think that is a good example of there is enough data in the world that we can start doing things that we couldn't do a few years ago. But if you go back to the Human Genome Project, that is a data analysis project. Started in 1990 and completed in 2013. It took us 13 years to map the human genome. Most of that work over those 13 years was gathering data, just getting the data from, this hospital has some data, this private foundation has some data, this other has some data. And see, now Nancy has data about you all because she just delivered your drinks.
Yeah. Awesome.
And it took a while to get all that data collected. And then the machine learning, then the AI, and then all the algorithms can begin to process the data. We no longer live in that world of the 1990s. We live in a world where data is there. And so that's why cars can drive, because they have the data. They have the data about the roads. They have the data about road closures. They have sensors in the car that tell them that there are obstacles in the path. They know one-way streets. They know two-way streets. They know traffic patterns. That's all data.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw the recent Tesla announcement. Did you parse their headline? Did you see the headline I'm talking about? The recent announcement? They showed this video where the car drove itself from home the whole way to work, and the guy never touched the steering wheel. Did you see that?
I did, yeah.
So the news was going crazy because they were saying, okay, cars can drive themselves, and they can, and it's powered by data. So the interesting distinction there is if you actually looked at the headline, what Tesla said was, we are now on all of our vehicles, including self-driving hardware. So it's the cameras, it's all the sensors. So the software now has to catch up, but the software on the previous cars, and some of them, they didn't have enough sensors to do the full self-driving. So again, yeah, it's the data that's actually helping.
It's the data, and all these sensors are helping. Now, think about it. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, most of the data in the world was just up on the web.
Yeah.
Scattered all over these various web servers, which is why we call it a web, right?
Yeah, and we couldn't find it.
Because if you draw, you can't find it because it's locked in these silos. The cloud has changed all that. And now we have data that is available. And it's all in the same place. It's in the data center. I mean, if you really think about it, the web itself is dead. We don't have a web anymore. No one or very few people maintain their own web servers. There used to be everybody
Yeah.
did.
And everybody was pretty excited about doing blogs and personal pages. And what's interesting is they see a lot of people like that's starting to go away now.
It's going away.
It's because it's a hassle.
And it's just migrating to the cloud.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a personal website and it's up in the cloud. You
Yeah.
know, you choose a cloud provider and you sign up and all that stuff is taken care of for
Absolutely.
you. See, this is really a crucial point though. Data is now all in the same place. This is why it seems magic what's happening now. We talk about AI. We should not talk about AI in terms of ending civilization in the singularity. It sounded
scary.
ridiculous,
Yeah.
didn't it? And now all of a sudden, Elon Musk and Woz and Gates and Stephen Hawking, I mean, legitimately smart people
Yeah, he's terrified.
are terrified of
Yeah,
this. Why?
Elon says we are in a simulation.
Why, yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. But the fact is, the data has all in one place. Algorithms can begin to find patterns in that data where they couldn't when it was all scattered across the web.
Yep.
All those web servers are in the same place.
So you mentioned a lot about data and having data, but how do we figure out what's good data to have? How do we know what's kind of the fluff inside that data?
Well, so this is kind of up to people. We don't know good data from bad data until we try to use it. And so I like to tell, I give a lot of talks at colleges, and I tell people, go throughout your day. Just walk around and think every decision you make, what to eat, where to go listen to music, what radio station to play when you're in your car. Every decision you make, and think, how would I make that decision without making it, right? How would data make that decision? What data would I use to make that decision for me so I wouldn't have to decide? And you'll find, if you do that, just throughout your whole day, do a whole week of that, you're going to find a bunch of places where you can make a decision. You're walking around downtown Seattle. Your musical tastes are known. Your how much money you currently have in your checking account is known, and it'll say, okay, you need to go to the Crocodile tonight because there's a rock and roll band there. We know you like rock and roll, and cover's only $10 because Numo's up the street. It's $25, and they're playing blues, and you're not into that.
I think
And it can just kind of guide you through your day.
Yeah.
So do that. I mean, I want everybody to do that. This is a really interesting exercise. Go throughout your day. Every decision you make, every time you have a choice, think, okay, what data would I use to make that choice? That's the data you want. And then the question is, can you get access to it?
Yeah.
The data you can't get access to, that's the bad data. The data you can get access to and that allows you to make that decision, that's good data.
So like bringing this back to like actual products now, this kind of like helps explain why I kind of feel uneasy about like Alexa and Google Home and stuff like that. It isn't that they're bad products, except that they're limited to the data of the one person who's logged into it. These are things we're supposed to put around our house, but if it only knows me or my wife or one of my kids, it can't interact with all of us. When we look at kind of like, the future in Star Trek, the computer understood everybody on the bridge. Yeah. It didn't have to be told, oh, wait, just wait, this is the captain speaking.
Yeah. That's what I want.
Yeah, you never have to tell it because it knows, right? Because your voice modulation is data, his voice modulation is different data, and it can tell it apart. But I mean, Alexa, you think about Alexa knows a lot of stuff. She knows about a lot of other buyers who are buying things. So if you say you want product X, she's going to know, okay, you're a middle-aged white guy, right? And most other middle-aged white guys buy that, right? And so it's going to be a really easy decision for them.
Yeah.
But what's stopping Alexa or any other technology? I'd prefer it to be the Xbox, but what's stopping Alexa or any other technology from doing that? From knowing that your kid can't ask to buy alcohol because it knows your kid is underage. Your kid can't ask to, your 22-year-old daughter can't ask to buy marijuana unless you're in the state of Washington, right? All those rules, it's all just data.
Yeah. And I'm not quite sure what it like. Do you have any grasp on what is actually stopping us? Because it feels like we sort of get closer and then we take.
It's our imagination. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I
think
really
we
think
know
the
what we.
startups
I
are going
think
to
we
drive
know what we
this.
want in some cases. Yeah. So that's probably the
Do
best.
we know what we want? That's why I give this exercise to my college.
Yeah, maybe
kids.
not.
Go out and think about it. What decisions are you making throughout the day? And this is a business opportunity because if you find something, wait a minute, I make this decision 4 or 5 times a week. Everybody in the world must make this decision 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And if you come up with technology that makes that decision for people, this is the way you make money. You make the billionaires don't make their money millions at a time. They make it 18 cents, 44 cents, $1.29 at a time. Bill Gates got very, very rich selling to a lot of people. And so when you come up with those scenarios, those decision-making scenarios that affect a lot of people, you're going to make money.
Yeah, I know what mine is. I mean, it's my drive in and factoring in time versus money on tolls and things like that. And Waze keeps getting better and better.
But you got to, I mean, self-driving cars are coming.
Yeah.
Cars are
well, then
absolutely
the whole
a thing
problem
of the past.
becomes moot at that point.
They're a thing of the past. And I actually think that it's going to be illegal for humans to drive in the future.
Yeah.
Because we are not good at
we're
processing
horrible.
data.
Yeah, we're horrible.
The data comes in. Well, it's not just that we're bad drivers. We're not good at processing the data.
Yeah.
We will not be able to interact, and we will screw up that whole system because the system will depend on all of the cars obeying the same algorithms. Humans are going to be incapable of that. It's going to be illegal to drive. We're going to have to find some messed up place nobody ever wants to go to, and I don't know, like Kentucky or some shit like that. And
that's where all the human drivers will go.
Yeah, and just go there because there's no tech there. I'm from Kentucky. I can say that.
Yeah. So you mentioned AI. AI is always very interesting because I feel like the definition, I don't want to say, at first I want to say perverted, but I want to say it's changed. We've almost lowered our expectations, and I want your take on this because originally AI was okay, this thing basically is a human brain, but in electronic form. And then after a time, we're just man, that's really hard. So
now it's not all it needs to do is something clever.
Yeah. So now we're like, if it can, you come home and it's hello, welcome home, Jason. You're that was AI.
Yeah, that was AI. We give it way too much credit. So look, first of all, it's not artificial at all. Somebody programmed this in the same way they programmed anything else.
Yeah.
The A really should stand for algorithm, not artificial, because it's a very natural process.
Yeah.
And it's not intelligent. It's a bunch of data processed at scale, right? This is why it looks intelligent because our data is now incredibly organized. We can process it at amazing speeds. I mean, think about it, right? We mapped the human genome with the equivalent of this Windows phone that I carry around with me everywhere I go because it was more powerful than any computer that existed in 1994.
Performance is doubling.
It's crazy,
every year.
just crazy. And so, incredibly organized data. Analyzed at speed, and it's impressive, right? So instead of artificially intelligent, it should be, algorithmically impressive. That's what AI should stand for.
I like that.
Hey, I'm patenting that.
When somebody says that, that's what's
trademarking that shit right there.
That's pretty good. So what about data in other areas? Where else are we using all this data?
So the thing that I am most excited about with data is the Human Brain Project. You all heard about this?
No.
So let's go back to the Human Genome Project, 1990 to 2013. First of all, we finished that shit in 13 years. How cool is that? The human race.
I remember that. I was in school and they were talking about how many years it was going to take, and then we finished it.
Stunning. It was supposed to take 100, right? And it took 13.
Yeah.
And it took 13
because computers kept doubling.
Because once we got the data organized, the algorithms could begin to find patterns in them like crazy. And so now we're doing the same thing with the Human Brain Project. And the cool thing is the data's there. We've got the little slices of the brain, we map them. And, they're already beginning to announce some really stunning things like, what depression looks like, what a panic attack looks like in the brain. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if they solved that shit? Right? Like 30 seconds before a panic attack, you'd see the data and panic. And I don't know, maybe it's a little device we insert in there that's dopamine, adrenaline. I don't know what it would be. But, you can actually begin to look forward to the end of things like that. I mean, the human brain has got to be that's got to be the granddaddy of all data pools.
Well,
the things that we can do with that are just going to be stunning.
It's the most powerful computer that we're aware of, and we haven't been able to really open it up and understand.
But it's got to be understandable. There's nothing there that's not either biological data or some sort of algorithm that we can design that will do that.
I've read
and if you think about it, the human body, your DNA is all data too. And we have only cracked the surface of the data that's in DNA. There is, if you look at this in the extreme, data is responsible for life, right? Data is God. And our DNA is data, and it created us. We don't know how it did it. Are we going to know how we did it? Of course we are. We're going to break that.
Yeah.
We mapped the human genome in 13 years with Windows phones.
Yeah.
Right?
I heard this thought experiment at one point. It was actually posed as a
I
question.
teach thought experiments in my creativity class.
It was posed actually like as a question on Reddit, and it was basically like if you took your Windows phone there, you put it in a time machine and you sent it back 20 years and gave it to insert big tech company at the time, like you hand it to them and you're like, here you go. Here's the keys to the kingdom. Like, how long would it take?
Well, if you watch Ancient Aliens, that's where all this shit came from. Right? There was something crashed, and we're reverse engineering all this stuff, even as.
But it just reminds me of that. It's like we have,
which isn't right. All this technology is perfectly explainable by Moore's law. We didn't get it from aliens.
Yeah.
But
20 years ago,
but
it
it's
looks like
continuing to grow. Are you all worried about Moore's law ending?
Yeah, well, I
2020,
heard it's my understanding is it's already slowing down in some regards.
I don't think it's slowing down.
Jason, remember that chart that we had last week with the speed of transistors in our production?
Yeah.
I mean, those were just straight lines going amazingly steep.
How many was it per second? I think it was
like a trillion.
I want to say a
second,
trillion
several
transistors.
Moore's law
are
has been
created per second.
incredibly reliable.
Yeah.
But silicon can only get so thin and still dissipate heat.
That's what's happening.
It's going to stop.
Yeah, it's that nanometer process that they're down to like 5 nanometers or something.
So what are we going to do? What do you all think? I mean,
well, I don't know. Quantum computers. I don't know.
Quantum computers, replacements for silicon.
Quantum computers don't seem to be like saving us yet. Really, at this
we're
point,
making good progress on quantum computers, and they could go. Quantum computers replacing the general purpose computer is a further stretch than quantum computers solving very specific problems.
Yeah,
like crunching the data in the Human Brain Project. So it could be that there's a branch there, but there are other things. There's carbon nanotubes. There's silicon germanium mixes. There's graphene.
Yeah, but
right? There are other
but
substances.
here's the thing, though. Does it even matter? Because here's the thing: like how do we deal with the fact that processors aren't as fast as we want them to be? We just make more. Right? Look at the cloud, right? Like if your phone isn't fast enough, you have a giant data center located, who knows where.
The phone is fast enough. People need to slow down a little bit. Ultimately, it's not going to be technology that saves us. It's going to be people's creativity applied to technology that's going to.
Well, have you seen this? I think did we talk about this on the last show? I can't remember. We had somebody figure.
You don't remember your own shows?
No, I don't know.
See, the processors are too fast.
Who's this guy? No, there was somebody, and if we didn't have a link to it in the show notes, we'll put it in the show notes for this episode. But somebody was using the new G series. Are you familiar with the G series SKUs in Azure?
Yeah.
The GPU enabled SKUs in Azure, and they're basically like super high performance GPUs. Well, your phone isn't fast enough to play like a really high resolution 3D game, but guess what? The cloud is.
Yep.
And they actually figured out how to stream that game down at 60 frames per second at full resolution. So on a low powered laptop, he was playing a full resolution game.
Yeah, it's
using the power of the cloud.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So the fact that we can like magically transport computing power in like space and time. I think that just overcomes it. Like, who cares? They're creating a trillion transistors a second.
The question is, where are we going to transport that to? Are we always going to be carrying screens around, or is all that data going to be transported to sensors that are around us?
Yeah. So,
I mean, I
what does it
definitely
look like?
foresee I foresee the end of the screen.
Yeah.
Because the data solves this problem. I mean, mostly I use the screen for telling my computing infrastructure, hey, this is my intent.
Yeah.
And then my computing infrastructure is going out and saying, "Oh, here's some possibilities.
Yeah. And it
list
sucks.
of them.
I mean, you're
left
just like,
swipe, right swipe."
Yeah.
That should go away.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have a thought. I work with a lot of enterprises during the day, and kind of like one of the key things like on enterprise is when they collect data is they got to lock it down. So what kind of implications does that have when we have this data?
You mean an enterprise locking their data down and not making it available to the rest of the world?
Well, not only just that, but there are concerns like when anybody takes their data and makes it private, or data that may be out there that somebody wishes were private.
Private. So you said part of the privacy word. So let's talk about that. I mean, if you think about it, the fact that Nancy knew what beer to deliver me and had to take your order, that's kind of a privacy issue. I have ceded that data.
Yeah.
My drinking habits to something else, and you all haven't, and you were disadvantaged by it, right? I got my drink and I get to enjoy it, and you all don't. And I think privacy is going to become more like that. The more data that all the sensors in the world and the computing infrastructure and the cloud has about you, the better it's going to be able to serve you. And so I think people are going to be less and less and less worried about, oh, I'm giving up my private data, and actually incented to, I want you to know more about me
Right.
so that I can get the answers I need faster. And so the question is, what do we do? What do we get back, right? Because right now we give up our privacy to Google, we give up our privacy to all these companies, and what do we get back? You know, Google's placing ads on my videos, and I don't get a penny out of any of those things. I'm giving up all of my intellectual property, and Google is making money on it. And they make it very difficult for me to say, hey, take that shit off my video, because there's hundreds, and then you multiply that, whatever effort that is, by 100. I'm not going to do that. It's too much work. I'm too busy of a person. And so when you're incented, when you get better service, in this case, I got a nice beer and you didn't.
Yeah.
I'm incented to do that.
So
and so
leading,
the challenge,
leading with value, and then
that's a challenge for the companies. That's a challenge for the Microsofts and the Googles of the world, is to figure out that value proposition. I mean, how cool would it be if all the CEOs of all these companies had to get up once a quarter and say, hey, here's all the shit we know about you, right? And here's what you're getting in return. Are we okay? Because if you're not, you've got a problem. And I think Google has a problem.
Yeah.
I'm not getting enough value, right? Free searches isn't enough. Yeah. And that's going away. We're not going to have to search in the future. The infrastructure is going to know. How are you going to advertise an answer?
Which means Google's got a big problem.
Google's got a big problem. They have to figure out how to actually make money by another means than advertising. It's a tough problem.
So how do we know when we're kind of like selling ourselves too thin for the value we're getting?
Well, we are
doesn't
now.
that
Everyone is now.
Doesn't that perpetuate that cycle at the moment?
I mean, I think, though, that it's changing. As long as we have a screen and we have choices and our brain is required to make a decision, advertisements are just the perfect little monetization mechanism. Once that goes away, once that, you know what, 99.9% of the people who had this intent that you have right now resolved it this way, of course you're going to want to resolve it this way. You get the answer and you go on. You can't insert an ad in that. And so it's a big problem for companies that have ads. And what do you learn about that? You get an answer and you implement that answer, and the people live their lives. And so that's it. That's the value. I get to live my life. That's the value of me giving up my personal information.
So what do you think about micropayments? Do you think that's viable?
Micropayments are the future, right? You think about all these developers who've written all these apps. The story I tell there's the peeing at the movies scenario.
Yeah. Well,
right?
tell it again.
Everybody goes to the movies, and nobody has this app that tells you when to pee at the movies. Right, there is an app. It's called Run Pee. It's awesome, and they've curated all the data. Like, okay,
I've used it.
That's a great app, right? Everybody goes to movies, and yet every time I ask people, do you know about this app? Everybody's like, no, I don't know about this app.
And that's solving like a really major problem, because I sort of
no, solving a really small problem, and I think this is the point. It's a small problem,
but common.
But this is it. Your day is full of small problems.
Yeah.
Small common problems. And so those people, there's millions of people that go to the movies every day. A lot of them have to pee while they're there. They end up missing something. Would they be willing to pay 4 cents? Or even better, I think, Azure could pay that. Because if that data is in the Azure ecosystem, and we end up finding, this is how I think it's going to work, right? Your infrastructure, your wearables, whatever you have, is going to figure out this is this person's intent, and that person, it might be pee at the movies. And if you think about it, that's data, right? The last time I was geolocated in a toilet, that's data. My mean time to bladder evacuation, that's data. The fact that I bought a beer before I went into the movie theater, that's data. It's all data. My machine, we'll call her Cortana just for fun of it, right? Cortana knows I have to pee.
Yeah.
And then Cortana can go up in the cloud and say, is there any solution for this? And if there is a solution that claims that, then, is it used? Do other people find it useful? That's all data.
Oh, my brain's going crazy. It can
And
tell
all
you
of a sudden
if you have a medical issue. It can tell you about that, but
it could. It totally could.
Yeah. And I would, going back to what you said before, I would totally give up my pee privacy for that benefit, because like even like before the show, like I always have to make sure I use the bathroom before the show, that because you don't want to be in the middle of the show.
That's why we started late.
Yeah. So totally give up my privacy for that.
And so then the question is, instead of 99 cents for that Run P app, you're paying 4 cents, 8 cents, whatever. And I really think that we could use the ads auction algorithms that already exist to determine the cost of an ad, to determine the value of actual data. We don't have to code anything new. And so what it requires developers to do is say, okay, forget the UI. Right? Back to the invisible UI that we talked about. Forget the UI. That's not important. Cortana, Siri, Google Now, let's just be nice to our competition.
Yeah.
They're going to determine intent. So I take my data and then I list, here's all the intents that I solve with this data. And if you lie, you don't get by with it because big data is going to show, no, people are rejecting the solution for this intent. And the winner is going to bubble up. The one with the best value is going to bubble up to the top. So yeah, of course, that run P dev, you ask him, would you like 4 cents every time somebody pees? Or would you like 99 cents every time someone manages to discover you in the App Store? They're going to take the micropayment. And the money's already in the ecosystem. People are paying Azure subscriptions. People are paying Office 365 subscriptions. The money's already in the ecosystem.
Absolutely. Do we want to talk about augmented reality?
Augmented reality. So all right, we did kill the screen, didn't we?
Yeah.
Why do you need a screen to determine intent or determine options?
Yeah, I want when the waitress came up here, I wanted to see her name like just right above her.
Yeah, and so how would you do that? Not by
Implant.
looking at this screen. Not by looking at this screen.
Yeah.
So you'd need something like HoloLens
Yep.
or
Yeah.
or
I saw a
something like
guy.
that.
I saw a guy one time in the Commons right near here wearing a HoloLens while he was eating lunch.
While he was eating,
So
what was he
hopefully-
looking
hopefully
at?
they get small.
Seriously, what was he
I don't
looking
know.
at?
So I
Because
put
you
the-
could really mess with that person. You could leave like some bacteria hologram, at that table. So
or like a
everybody
finger or a chicken leg or something like that. Who knows? Yeah.
Is there anybody here that knows anything about mixed reality?
Yeah, we need somebody that knows something about that.
No, I think we're.
Wait,
I think we're.
I just felt a wave of diva.
Did someone say holograms?
diva. We have a. Diva is now a verb. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you diva'd in, I diva'd in.
Ah,
Yeah, we all
see?
diva in. That's what we do.
I'm a diva.
Of course you are. You're more of a
Or
diva than
I
all
have
of us.
diva properties.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So this is
what are we
Dona
doing?
Donna
Sarkar.
Sarkar, people.
Hi. What are we doing?
So we killed the screens, Donna. We
Oh.
decided that our intent now is data.
Okay.
The world around us that can satisfy that intent is
Yes.
data.
Oh, obviously.
So why would we need screens? And the only thing we could think of is occasionally you might want to actually see another human. You might want to be entertained in some fashion.
Right. But why do you need that when you can just project stuff on walls or here or there?
That's
or
what I
anywhere?
want.
Yeah. So instead
everywhere.
of so everything is a screen.
Oh, wait, I'm just getting comfortable with being a diva. Now I'm a
Right.
screen
Now you're a
as well.
screen. Yeah, now you're a screen as well. But guys, we're in the world of mixed and augmented reality. But soon after that, we're gonna augment the human. I'm super ready to augment the human. So
Now
you'll
I'm-
get to actually see it on your arm.
Now I'm an android.
No, you're just augmenting the human. That's a basic bitch term.
We
Like,
need to augment a microphone near James.
Okay, so now,
Yeah.
am I not loud enough?
oh, James
Here,
is not loud enough.
This will make me
I
louder.
know James is not loud enough.
Everybody
Okay,
drink.
so we're already augmenting the human, right? Like prosthetics, better.
I'm augmented. I got a bum knee. It's augmented.
Yeah, I've actually
Yeah.
heard about people like wearing hearing aids just to improve their world. Not even that they have a hearing issue.
Of course.
But they want to add additional audible information.
Yeah, absolutely. So between prosthetics, better hearing aids, people's knees and such being replaced by 3D printed parts that were exact copy. You heard about the 3D printed organs and stuff like that, right? It's already happening to make a carbon copy of the people.
I do think that's cool that we are beginning to 3D print proteins, right?
Yeah.
Sugars were pretty easy.
Right.
In fact, this year, the 3D printing has just gone crazy, right?
Yeah.
Proteins, metals, carbon fibers.
That's right.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're printing houses.
Well, as the population of Earth grows, our natural resources are not going to be able to keep up, right?
So
It's
what do you
just
think
not
of
gonna
Pokemon
happen.
Go? What did that do for the whole augmented mixed reality
Do you play it?
thing?
I don't play
Is that
it.
that one app that allowed everybody to kind of get comfortable with it?
It's the one thing that allows for easier storytelling. So when Uber came out, explaining matching, explaining humans as inventory became simple, right? When Uber came out.
Now I'm inventory. I'm a
Yeah,
lot of shit.
I know, diva. But once Uber and Airbnb came out, right, humans as inventory became pretty easy to explain. Humans and humans property, it says so in platform revolution. Like Mike Angiulo just told me yesterday, Airbnb, biggest hotel industry, they own no hotels. Uber, biggest, car fleet, they own no cars. But they own your location and a spot on your phone. So your possessions are now other people's possessions. But you think about like going forward, how we can evolve this, because 90% of our things sit idle 90% of the time, right? Mm-hmm. So everything you own, seriously idle 90% of the time, other than probably your phone or maybe your PC.
Yeah, we have thousands of dollars worth of hardware here that we use once a week.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, so my kegerator is the only non-idle hardware.
I know. I believe your kegerator is non-idle ever.
Non-idle.
But when I think about my possessions, whether it's my car or my house or whatever it is, or the clothes in my closet, they're idle 90% of the time, not being used. So what does that mean in this world with like mass overpopulation and just excess of stuff? Because the cost of making stuff is just getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. We just don't have space for it, right? So how can we leverage the sharing economy more? And as tech gets more and more screenless, we don't need more screens. We just don't need more screens on stuff. So how can we have it so anything is a screen, but when we want it to be, right? So how can we use the one thing in our life that we always have with us, like this mobile device, project a thing, anything can be a screen, or nothing can be a screen.
Do you think that HoloLens is going to get so crazy it's going to go from this to contacts to implants to, are we going to be augmented in that?
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Because when we think about what is possible right now, it's like child's play compared to what's going to be possible in 5 years, right? So I think you were asking, what did Pokemon Go do? It got people used to the idea that you can augment reality pretty easily. It's not this mythical thing that you need some contraption on your head, right? It can be something as simple as this. So if you can augment reality with this, then why can't you just...
augmenting reality with this in 2016 is a smart thing to do.
Right.
In 2020, I don't know.
This will be super basic, right? It could be that in 2020, you've just got a thing in your arm and you just project. And
there for me,
you go.
the bar
is that a tattoo or a brand?
It's all.
It's like
I'm augmenting the human. So yeah,
awesome.
I should augment.
I'm glad they didn't make me the Windows Insider.
You
exactly. You have to.
She's got a hashtag.
So it says Winsiders for Good. It's all about how the Windows Insiders use technology to make a lasting impact on the world.
I think we're going to get some at the party tonight, some Windows Insiders.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
sure we will. We're everywhere. We are everywhere. Windows Insiders are everywhere. There's millions of us.
Yeah.
There's an army of millions out there.
So the bar for me for this augmented reality is always like, I remember faces really well. I have a really hard time with names. Yeah. Like for me, if there's some way that I can, basically have that person whisper in my ear, like, that's James, and here's his birthday, and it happens to be today, and
I'm gonna hack his shit.
He likes beer.
Everybody's gonna have the wrong name.
Well, I won't trust
everyone's gonna be Betty.
Yeah.
This is all James. It's his birthday. Buy him a beer. That's all your ear's gonna say.
So what year are we gonna have that where I can have that without holding a camera up to you?
We're not Ray Kurzweil. We don't give years.
Well, so one of the things that has me excited is, so we talked about earlier about like automating cars so that they drive, without us. Yeah. But there's a lot of laws in place about that.
Right.
There's not many laws that are talking about what the limits are, what we can do to augment and progress that technology, both with the silicon pieces and the medical pieces.
Right.
So I think that's ripe for a lot quicker innovation, or at least quicker adoption of the acceptance of it.
That's right. It's because the idea itself is new, right? Like when you think about these decades old policies that have been in place, it's very hard to change because they were made for a world where cars were like this new idea. Mm-hmm. We're still following laws that were made like during the era of the steam engine. Right?
We always will be.
Yeah.
I mean, our industry has pushed legislation
we have pushed
hard.
Like you saw Uber's epic battle up the hill, right?
Yeah.
With legislation and things, or Airbnb.
They
and
really
they're
take it
still
personally
fighting.
when we kill entire industries.
Exactly. They're like, God damn it. And you see all the drama in Austin. They're like, no Uber, Airbnb, 30 copies pop up. It's like, guys,
so
you can't stop
frustrating.
innovation, right? You can't stop innovation.
Yeah.
It was like the publishing industry's fight, or Hachette Books' fight with Amazon. Amazon,
Yeah.
right? They're like, oh, you can't do this. You're like, rule someone else's opinion. That's cute, right?
I love that. Rules are someone else's
Damn
opinion.
straight.
Yeah. I'm going to say that next time I get arrested.
It's true. Those are laws.
oh, laws. Oh, shoot.
Laws are written down somewhere. You go to jail, James.
Okay.
But rules are someone else's opinion because someone had an opinion once and someone wrote it down and said, okay, that's a rule, everyone follow it. And they were made in a time that was so long ago that nothing is the same, right? It was made in a time when we had telephones and switchboard operators. We had phones like attached to walls in houses. You and I talked about
They're
this for a
not
while.
going to keep up, right?
No,
They're not going to keep up.
these
We are
rules
going to
make
have
no
to push
sense.
them.
Of course.
And then they'll try their best to figure it out.
They'll try their best
they
to
won't
get
figure it out.
But the thing is that what's going to happen is the next generation of people, the current generation, the next generation, they're going to grow up and become lawmakers, and they're going to say, I don't even know why this is a rule. And someone just has to point this out.
So this, I think, is the inflection point, and particularly Gen Z and maybe
Right.
the younger millennials. They don't care about privacy the way we care
Right.
about privacy.
Exactly.
And they're willing to experiment. And
That's right.
okay, we haven't figured this out. We're going to do it anyhow.
We're going to do it anyway.
They were
right?
born into the
In
value
our
proposition.
generation, not so much.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
so much.
Get
So
off my lawn.
for
Yeah.
them, things are reversible, right? Like Control Z has always been a thing for them. Things are reversible. Let's go try it. Didn't work. That's cool. Let's try something different, right? It's not like the end of days that it used to be in our generation, where not even our generation, previous, where you're born, you go, apprentice, or you work as an
and you
intern
shoot
somewhere.
the shit you don't like.
Right.
Yeah.
And you do that,
From
but
Kentucky, that's the way we grow.
they shoot the shit apparently. But you look at like previous generations. You grow up, you go to college, maybe you get a job, and you go work at that job until you die at 45 because you just don't have any information otherwise other than the degree you got or the person you apprenticed under, right? You just simply don't have the information. Now,
that was the way I was brought up.
right? But you think
Not
about
anymore.
you think about the diversity of people nowadays, and not just diversity in terms of race or color or whatever, but from the time that these kids are able to like use their fingers and toes, they're talking to people in like South Africa and Singapore.
God, Gen Z's using their fucking toes. Man.
Right?
Do you hear
Yeah.
that shit?
But there's no one
No wonder
who's
they're smarter than
there's
we
no.
are.
Of course, they're smarter than we are. They have more information now by the time
They
they're
got
5.
toes.
They got toes.
What else do you
I don't know,
need?
but they have more information by the time they're 5 than we've had in our lifetime.
And they're
Right.
comfortable with it.
Of course, they like it.
They're not scared of
To
it
them,
at all.
natural.
to them, information acquired through technology is a part of their brain, is an extension of their brain. We always fixate. We're like, oh, tech is so bad for the brain. We're like, no, tech is the brain. To them, they're already augmented, right? Because it's not what they happen to know right here. It's what they can know in 5 minutes, right?
Do
It's
you remember
Satya's
those
thing.
conversations where we'd like argue, like, who was that actor
Yeah.
that was in that
Why are
movie?
you fighting about
Yeah.
this? Look it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It
And
doesn't
now it's
matter.
like,
Right?
yeah,
It doesn't matter. It's not like tech is going to go somewhere.
So what does that do for education? I mean, if you look at
Yeah.
old industries,
Right.
our education system was designed 150
What
years
is this? What is this that you're having?
ago. That's my beer. That's what that is.
Rules are someone else's opinion. It's not my.
There should be laws about my beer.
They apparently don't have enough information on her either.
There you
The
go.
automatic beer.
Nancy, can we 2 more?
Wow.
Oh, she disappeared. She was like,
She's
behind the
like,
wall.
good luck with
The
that.
same? 2 of them? Yeah.
But guys, like Satya always says, it's not what you know, it's what
See,
you
thanks
can
to
learn.
you introduced an interface in this. Otherwise, the system would have just rolled with it.
No one was stealing your beer until I just did this.
We're gonna have to code an exception for this, I think.
Why? Because no one stole your beer yet? That's sad.
That is sad, isn't
I know,
it?
that is sad. First thing you got to do is steal his beer.
So
See if the
education.
IoT beer filler thing's
And now
working
we've
yet.
jumped-
It's
So
not
what
working.
should we be teaching kids in an era where the information is there, answers is there? Why are they studying?
We should teach kids how to curate and process,
Yeah.
right? And how to
I
identify.
like the word curate.
I love the word curate.
I really think teachers are
Teachers should
they
be
should
curators.
be curators.
That's right, absolutely.
Finding the
And
best information to impact their students.
I think teaching communication is probably the most important thing. Like, how do you create content? How do you consume content? And how do you actually move people? Because right now we all sell constantly, right? Whether it's a product, an idea, a service, a piece of information. But people don't know how to move others. They don't know how to persuade and convince. Oh, hi, thank you.
Look at that. Isn't it beautiful?
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
What are we having here? What's this?
It's a winter ale. It's gorgeous. Because it's winter and all. Mm-hmm. It's nice, isn't it? Malty.
It's really nice.
A little bit of hoppy.
I love it.
Somewhere around 30 IBUs, which
love
is
it.
just about right for a winter ale.
I don't know what you're talking about anymore, but I think that
It's data.
It's all beer data.
Okay, so I think this is what we have to
Bing
teach
it.
people. James,
Just point
James,
your
James,
phone.
I
at
will
it and
I will drink
identify
your
the-
beer and mine. I swear to God,
The
I will
analysis
do
of
it.
the
You know
beer.
I will. You know. Okay, but seriously, like when we think about what we have to teach people, it's how to create content that's good and high quality per the audience, right? How do you create content for the audience you're targeting? What is the best way to consume content? What are the best sources to consume content? And what question are you trying to answer? That'll help you consume the right content.
That's right. So content is data,
Yeah.
and this is
Right.
you missed this part, but I was
Yeah.
when I give talks at universities, I tell them go throughout your day.
Yeah.
Every decision you make, figure out how to make it without your brain involved. Just data. What is the data involved
That's
in
right.
making that decision?
That's right.
It's empowering.
It is empowering because the amount of data that's out there, you can answer any question,
You can answer any question.
right? It's no longer at that point where students need to go ask their teacher, right? But I actually think
Teacher might actually be the worst person.
right, exactly, because they're relaying some old information back in the day if they're
Yeah.
not the kind of teacher who's
yeah.
like, let's go look it up together.
Old wives'
So,
tales.
so
and
how do
myths.
we spark this creativity in people?
Oh,
Creativity. Who knows something about creativity?
I don't, let's see.
We might
Creativity.
know.
Creativity
Yeah,
is a
do we have
real.
do we have another guest?
It's
It's
a real
like
problem.
we can talk about this all day. So James and I are starting a movement. Did you tell him?
No, I didn't tell him.
You
You
didn't
tell
tell him
him.
about the movement? Okay, ready? Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're ready.
Are they ready?
Are you? You guys ready?
They look ready.
That's us.
Ready? Ready.
We're ready.
The Unstarving Artists Movement.
Infragistics Ultimate UX and UI tools and enterprise mobility solutions, SharePlus and Report Plus, enable high-performance apps on any device, faster data insights, simplified collaboration, and market-leading security, all backed by comprehensive support. With Infragistics Ultimate UX and UI Development Toolkit, you can ensure mission-critical applications delivering a superior user experience on the desktop, web, and native device environments for iOS and Android. With the latest BI tools, wow your users with dashboards providing the data insights that they need when and where they need it, all at a low total cost of ownership. Try it today. Download a free trial at Infragistics.com and follow them for the latest updates in UX and UI development, reporting, and collaboration at Infragistics on Twitter. And remember, each week, if we pick your comment on the show, you will get a free copy of Infragistics Ultimate UX and UI Toolset.
Why is it that a thing...
She says to a starving artist.
Starving artist.
Yeah.
We're starting the Unstarving Artist
I wish I could pan. I'll have to record him and put
The
it
reason
in.
why. Okay, art,
A Gen Z starving
Gen Z,
artist.
starving
Yeah.
artist.
Here we go.
Uncalled for.
We're switching to angle 2 on the camera.
That is one of our guitar players for
doing?
later.
Hi.
His name is Logan. Logan.
Hi, Logan.
Give us a piece. Piece.
Yeah.
Dude, if you've heard Kurt Cobain sing, he is spot on.
Oh,
Kurt
really?
Cobain.
So he's
we could
a
probably
up-and-coming
request.
star?
We could probably do a request for like a little Nirvana session
Okay.
at the beginning
Excellent.
of this jam.
But guys, seriously, like art is the thing that moves us, stops us in our tracks, right? A beautiful song, that thing hanging on the wall, words that reverberate in your head your whole life. They move us the deepest.
It is true,
Right?
Even like art and nature,
Exactly.
like a rainbow or a
Yes,
sunset.
Exactly. They move you so
stop.
deeply, you stop. And that's what you share. You share art constantly. These words are beautiful, this picture's stunning, this piece of music. It's what you share.
It's very insightful.
But we don't pay the creators. Why? I mean, we pay like 1% of creators,
Well, I think we started with the wrong system.
right? And we think
She said I was right.
you're absolutely right. We did. We did
We're,
start
we're
with the
gonna
wrong system.
we're gonna watch this.
One
and-
point, Jason.
We're gonna watch this and fact check it. It's
But
gonna
no,
be like
it's
the presidential
true, though.
debate.
It's true, though. You know, right now, if someone says like, "Hey, I want to be an artist, a musician, a writer," oh, for your poor parents, how are you ever going to earn an income?
I hear that. My
Yeah.
son's a guitar player.
Constantly,
He's a
right?
musician,
Constantly.
and I hear
Luckily,
that.
he's got the right father. That's
What are
probably
you
not going to
doing?
talk him out of it. I assume.
But what are you
Are
going to
you
do
kidding
with
me?
that?
Oh, you're talking.
No, I'm
you are
not
talking.
We're
gonna
always
talk
like,
it
how are
out.
you going to earn a living from that? And why
Into it.
can't we earn a living from it?
I
You're
want that
creating
to
the
happen.
thing that people people want most.
We're going to figure that out.
Right, people want it the most.
So
James
here's
and we're on a mission.
Art is data, and the intent to view art
Unstarving
is,
artist movement. Logan, we got this. Logan's like, please leave me.
Your future
He's like, stop pulling me into this. We got this. Logan. Yeah.
But he's good at starving. That's the problem. He's gotten used to it.
Starving is good because it fuels you to do better, but it shouldn't have to be that artists are starving. It shouldn't have to be that artists have to get day jobs as like bartenders or at Walgreens, right?
Yeah, that's
that
the problem.
it shouldn't have to be, because the more they do that, the less time they have to create art.
Which means the less time they have to build something that will stop us in our tracks.
That's right.
And change the way we view
Yes.
our day.
Right. And then they don't get to build expertise and mentorship and leadership qualities because they're too busy.
So
trying
this
to be
gets
a
back to the whole education thing I brought up earlier.
That's right.
In our STEM program. I mean, I believe in STEM.
I believe in
Everybody
STEM. I believe in
needs to be
STEAM.
technical.
Yeah.
STEAM. So you put art in there. That's the A.
Oh,
Yeah.
How clever are
fancy.
you?
I didn't make it up.
You didn't make it up? No.
Lots of people
Yeah.
say that. They're like, can you please talk about STEAM instead of
And
STEM?
luckily they
Yeah,
put it
but
in
we
the right
don't
spots.
fund STEAM because STEAM, the A, doesn't make any
pay.
money.
It's because people who graduate in art aren't able to give back because they don't make any money. What are you
Yep.
going to give back?
Yeah, my son, one of the bands he's in, the other two kids, their parents have already said, no art, right? You can play your guitar while you're in high school. After that, you've got to go be an engineer.
Wow.
A minion.
Man. I mean,
I
say
like
this
minions.
as an engineer.
Minions are
yeah.
good. Yeah, but you're an engineer and an artist at the same time.
Absolutely.
And I think when you boil science down, the most beautiful
Yeah.
science is the science based in art.
Absolutely. It's the most creative engineers. They create the best stuff. You make the best products by far, right? You think Surface Studio was created by a bunch of nerds who didn't know how to draw? No,
No, absolutely not.
no. the way the angle of the drafting table,
that just
right?
there was almost no computer science involved in that,
But when you look at
which was so nice.
you look at the angle of the drafting table, it's flawless. That's not made by someone who's never drafted, right? That's not it.
and the idea that you can change
Yeah,
and
the
do art
dial
at the
and
same
this-
time,
yeah.
you don't have to go down to your
Yeah.
little pad and your
Like,
little keyboard.
was that made by someone, by pure computer science? And computer scientists can also be all these other things, but they use that other part of their brain.
And often are. A lot of the,
course.
the Nobel Prizes in science
Right.
are they're artists, musicians, they're
because
they-
we're multifaceted
magicians
humans,
even.
right?
Right?
People love to put us in these categories. Like people ask me all the time. They're like, "When are you going to quit tech and go into fashion?" And I said, "Why would this be even a question?" Right? What's wrong with the and? The
Yeah.
and is working out.
Why not
perfectly.
both?
They don't oppose each other.
Yeah.
In fact, the world would be better off if
Far better.
everybody thought they didn't oppose each other.
Exactly. So you don't need to choose one or the other. And I actually believe the next generation will refuse to choose, because why? They've been doing both since they were born. So when you grow up and suddenly you have to like follow some old person's opinion, no.
So do the I always wonder, like, do the technical people go away then? If it's really about everything else. I mean,
Being able to code is going to be the last job standing. Think about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So guys, technical just means being able to write code.
yeah.
If someone's able to write English, do you ask them, can you do anything else other than write English? Obviously, it's just a skill.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean just because you know how to write code doesn't mean that's all you do for a living.
Right.
And just because you have a job as an artist doesn't mean you can't write code. It's just a literacy.
Yeah.
Like knowing Spanish doesn't mean you can't also know French, right? Or also create art.
Coding is really more important than writing in cursive.
Exactly. Oh, way more. The fact that they teach cursive writing still and not coding is hilarious.
Some schools actually did drop it, so it
Yeah,
is
the
going away.
schools where my kids go, they recently stopped that, and they started coding clubs kind of at the same time. So that's really
It's
exciting.
great. I think teaching coding is important, but I also think it's very important to continue to teach art, because those are not. It's not one or the other. It should never be one or the other, because teaching coding is like, teaching you to read and write English, Chinese, whatever, right? But teaching art is important to free the brain. Like, did you guys watch those videos on how drawing changes the brain?
It does.
Yeah, completely. It changes the way you see the world because you're actually seeing like a shape in front of you and how you recreate it. You draw the shape around the object.
And it's both instant,
Yes.
right, and it's permanent. Over time, it will
And how it
change the
shapes
brain.
But when you create by hand,
So never stop. Teachers never
never
stop
stop.
kids from doodling.
Never
Let them
stop.
doodle
Oh, let
while they're
them
listening
doodle.
to you.
And
Let
what I
them
always
doodle.
tell my kids is like all the research that I've seen says that you're not fixing, your brain is not set in stone.
That's right.
So, we always, growing up, you always hear people say like, oh, you're not good at this thing, but you're good at this thing. And
Right
everything
now.
that I-
Whenever you
everything
tell
that I've
people
been
they're not
reading-
Right
good
this
at something, it's a
second.
really bad thing to say
Yeah, I
to
know.
yeah,
anybody.
like
God,
right
you're not good at
here
this.
at this
So when you
moment in
mentioned the
time.
Jason, you're really lousy at hosting
Yeah,
shows,
yeah.
man. Really bad.
James,
Hey.
look who's here.
go listen to our first episode.
Oh,
It is proof that somebody can get better at something.
Everybody
not
can get
necessarily
better at
great.
anything.
Not necessarily great.
I'm
but
not
least
better at anything. I think people can learn anything.
Yeah.
And seriously, if you want to learn something, you can learn that thing.
Yeah, no. But so
yeah, you can.
careful.
You don't need to be the best in the world.
right? I mean, if I wanted to learn, to be as good a guitar player as Logan,
No, you're
I wouldn't
not
be able
saying-
to do
You're
it.
not saying as good as compared to someone
Right,
else.
right.
You're saying you want to learn to play the guitar with all your
okay,
heart.
you can learn, but
You
to be
can learn.
really good at something, you got to find the things that your brain naturally gravitates to.
I think there's things your brain gravitates to because it wants to.
Yeah, so nurture that.
Yeah, nurture that. And you're willing to spend nights, weekends obsessing over it. Or you're not. You'd rather speak than play the guitar.
I would, right?
So there.
But-
Are you going to ever quit speaking? And
But the
take a-
thing is, I don't know if there's a natural thing for people.
I
Right?
don't
When
know.
people say, "Oh, you're lucky, you're so good on stage."
No.
No. I work
you
to get
work
there.
really
People
hard.
will tell my son, "Oh, you're so
Right.
lucky to be
No,
musical."
no,
it's
lucky,
not lucky.
my goodness.
Look at my
I wish I
bloody
was so
fingers
lucky,
from
yeah. Mm-hmm.
playing, 8 hours in a row. Right? It takes work. Michael
Yeah.
Jordan isn't lucky.
No.
Marie Curie
No.
isn't lucky.
No.
George Washington Carver isn't lucky.
No.
They work really hard.
work
at
really
something.
hard. They work
and they
harder than
happen to
you.
work hard at
That's it.
something that their brain naturally gravitates
Right.
to.
Yes. I
That's
like
the
that
thing you're
part.
going to
You're
get
willing to work at
really,
it.
really good
I like
at.
that. The things
Yeah.
that your brain naturally gravitates
Yes.
toward.
And you're
I think
willing-
Your
that's the
brain
key.
has a predisposition
Yeah.
to what it wants to know.
I am obsessive about certain things, and I get good at those things. And people are
Yes.
like, "Oh, you're
Then
so
you're
good at that." And it's
amazing.
like, it's just because my brain
I
like
became good
all
at
the
it.
time. Yeah.
You go
Exactly.
from having an inclination to doing it all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're good at it. Like an artist is not someone who has an art degree, right? We were talking about this yesterday. You don't need an art degree to be an artist. You need to have an interest, an inclination, and then just do it, and you're an artist. You definitely, no amount of art certification is going to give you the artist handle.
I wonder if we're moving to a world where all these degrees and certifications won't matter at some
Mm-hmm. That's
point.
right. It's not going to.
It's going to be
It already does.
you built some art, and now that everyone has access to it, who accesses it the most?
we're
How much does it
already-
change their life?
Yeah, we're already seeing that in the interesting fields. I mean, look at what we're in. I mean, if you're in the tech industry,
We're in an interesting field.
It only
That's awesome.
I'm so happy to hear that.
It only matters. I tell people because they're like, "Do I need to go to college for this?" Like, yes, you do to get started.
Ish, yeah.
No, you don't.
And-
yeah,
well,
Ish.
It's it's
And it's
the
and the
catapult.
ish is growing bigger.
I know,
It's
every
more like,
year.
do you,
Right,
you want to go
right.
to college to talk to other people who are doing similar things? So you
Some
have
of the-
people to complain to.
Some of the
Like,
best
yeah.
programmers I know don't have any degrees at all. In
40,
fact, the very best
50%.
programmer I know has a degree in freaking English literature.
50% of apps written by non-computer science,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Just like I think 95% of books are written by non-English majors because they're too busy analyzing literature to write.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Right? It's true. And I think the certification-ness is really good for building relationships with other people who are kind of in your boat, but not necessarily it's the only way to learn a thing, especially if teachers aren't the experts.
And they're not, right?
Right.
By definition, they're not the
Right,
expert.
because they're
Which goes back to the
because they're not
curator.
creating, they're busy reporting on.
They're never going to be an expert at anything because they're too busy teaching everything. They can be
They're
curators.
teaching
They
everything,
can be
but
the
they're
conduit
also
to experts.
teaching things that were relevant like back in the day when they were studying it, right? So it's really hard to be a teacher who stays up to date on things when you're not out there creating.
It shouldn't be. The teachers have access to everythation.
Right, but
and they shouldn't view themselves
I think
as
they
experts.
should be creating and curating, right? And the only way to test your creating or test your curation technique is by creating, right? How can I say I'm a good curator? How can I say this site has good data when I've never used it to make something? Why? Because someone said so? Go use it. How can you say Hackster.io, that project is really good, if I haven't gone and put GPS dots on things? How?
Well, data should show that, right? The over time, the data should lead people to where the real value is in this whatever way it's the web, the cloud, whatever.
They
it
have to
happens
be able to know how to read that data, though.
Or the machines do, and the machines need to know, hey, you're trying to create this thing,
Yeah.
and all these other creators found that
Right.
over there really good, so
Yeah.
you should use that over there.
I don't think the machines are there yet.
They're not, but they need to be, and that's where the real business opportunity is, making the machines be able to do things like that.
So when we talk about machines, ANI, right? And again, this is something I talked to a friend about yesterday. The artificial part, 90%, the intelligence part, 1% or 10%. We need the humans to do that I part, to correct, right? To say, good, good, good. No, there's a failure. Let's see why.
Well, at least today we do.
I think we're always going to need a little bit of human, right? Because we're very emotional, fragile, delicate creatures. We're kind of ridiculous. We are the most
And
complex
unpredictable,
organism on
yeah.
Earth, right? We're so moody, my goodness. Right, we are. Like one day we're like, oh, this is a great
Are
idea.
you calling me moody?
I'm looking directly at you.
Are you calling me moody?
Directly.
I didn't say anything.
I am not moody.
You're not moody, James.
Okay, so we talked about privacy earlier, and I don't know if you want to make any comments on that, but the next topic then I think would be like security, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, so important. Cybersecurity. Study that. Okay, guys.
No, that is actually really good. Really
Study
good
that.
advice. Study that.
Study that. Study
So,
that a
but I have
lot.
a theory about cybersecurity
Okay.
in the Internet of
You
Things
know what's
era.
scary? Here's what's scary. Your computer gets hacked. That's scary. Your PC or phone get hacked. It's annoying, right? It's annoying. You have to go reset everything. What a pain. Your house or your car get hacked. You're haunted. You got a freaking poltergeist in there. That is scary. Scary.
Scary?
Study it.
That's why I don't have
No,
any...
it's data. I love getting hacked because then I have something to study.
Someone hack his house.
No, don't hack my house. Those people live
Sharon's
in my
over
house.
there like, don't do that, please. Hi. Hi. Yeah.
Well, especially when they had
James's
those
wife
baby
is over there.
monitors,
Yeah.
those
Yes.
baby monitors
Yes.
that were getting hacked, and there was
So
like people
James's wife
speaking.
is like, "Why are you saying hack my house?" Yeah, he
It's a
said
good
it.
idea. It's
He said
data.
it. Do you want your new house to get hacked for data?
We need the second camera angle.
No. She's like,
There's
hell.
the artist
no.
pool.
The artist pool.
So look,
Artist nest
security
over there.
is going to get easier in the Internet of Things. Bear with me here, because the human will be removed from the equation.
The human
right?
will be
because it's
removed
going
from
to be
the equation.
It's going to be machine
this is not
to machine
ominous
to machine.
sounding at all.
Yeah, I'm not going to remove
I
them.
bow
They will
down
just
to our
not be
IoT
there.
overlords.
Right? Think about it. If machines are communicating with machines,
Is he a machine?
they don't need
They call me a bot.
to remember passwords. They will remember passwords perfectly. The passwords can be huge. They can communicate constantly, passing back authentication strings. There's no human in the loop that is going to screw it up by having a password 1 2 3 4. And so when you remove humans from that security loop, security gets really good
Yeah.
really fast.
And we know how to do security. Like the security issues that have happened have just been absolutely
Mostly
ridiculous.
human problems.
I know, and it's been just giving IoT a bad name. I always say, whenever somebody says IoT caused this issue, put in the word computer.
Yeah, IoT did not
Yeah.
cause this issue. Yeah.
Computers are insecure because
We
of
don't
the
know how to
humans.
build IoT.
Well, because we hacked them
correctly.
together and we didn't think about
Yeah.
security because we didn't think about security,
like,
which
oh,
is
it's
the
a
same
Pi
way.
2.
But it's
We'll
the
figure
same
it out
way.
later.
We didn't think about security when we first started programming computers
Certainly
either,
not.
right? So
Yeah.
everything new, security is
Yeah.
kind of the last. Okay, let's bolt this
We
shit
all-
on.
because-
But in the Internet of Things, humans aren't going to be involved, which means security, in theory, could be really freaking good. However, once you do manage to penetrate that, and they will figure it out. If there's a single small hole,
Yep.
the hackers will figure it out. Once you breach the Internet of Things, you're in. All the machines are going to trust you.
Yeah.
And the amount of damage you can do and the length of time that you can go undetected is really freaking scary. But in the beginning stages, security is going to get way better because humans aren't going to be there having stupid passwords and doing stupid things.
I do agree with that, but I think that we need humans to predict human behavior. Our behavior is going to change as we live in this world where there are more robots and things, right? And more machines. If you talk to the guy who invented, what is that spinning vacuum cleaner thingy?
Dyson? The Roomba?
That.
That.
Yeah.
The good. I was out of vacuum cleaner
Yeah,
names.
we're like-
I'm so glad I got that right.
I know. Yes, the
I didn't know it
Roomba.
was spinning.
Hoover.
Roomba.
Do we still have Hoovers? Are they still make? They're
Is that still a
thing?
thing? I don't know.
they're actually a big thing.
Is there? Are they?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, robots really struggle with computer vision, right? So that guy, he's saying robot technology has not improved, notice, that much in like 10 years. Because he says you people, tech people, have been fixated on making like Uber for fresh fruit rather than like working on robots. We're
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's true.
We never tackled that really deep problem.
Exactly, because we tackle like the get rich quick scheme
Yep.
rather than tackling like, this is hard, we
This
don't know how to
industry
succeed.
does like to get rich.
We love
Yeah,
get rich
we
quick
do like
schemes.
to get
So then
rich.
we like to replicate like the same dumb thing over and over. And he's like, it's your fault actually. We're like, okay, we can't say anything. But computer vision has not gotten better in a long time. It's getting better slowly compared to what it could. So he said the problem that robots have is if you've got parts like this, a robot can't differentiate between them. Its vision is just not good enough to pattern match between these and pull them apart. So that's why these Roombas are now being used to clean out landmines. Giant Roombas are being used to clean out landmines in Afghanistan. But we haven't made,
Is it because they're getting better, or because we're okay with them blowing up?
we're okay with them blowing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they haven't been able to do more sophisticated things. So here's another issue. Everyone's super stressed, like,
Are they
oh,
actually vacuuming in Afghanistan at the same time? Or they,
Or did they disable
Oh.
the beater bar?
I think they disabled
Look how
like, the
clean
cat
Afghanistan
thing.
is.
Good job, Afghanistan.
We cleaned it up.
I think they just like, but you know how, what was I saying? Something relevant. I forgot.
Then there's debris, and you have to send another one.
I love interrupting people while they're saying something.
And you're
relevant.
like,
come on, somebody
what
else
was
say
it?
something
Someone
relevant.
say something
Go
else.
on, say it.
Someone say something useful.
No, it's Carl. He can't say anything relevant. He's
Oh,
beyond.
you're so mean.
I love
he's
Carl.
just
He
way
knows.
on the
I'm here to be beat up on, really.
Oh,
Bros don't love each other until they've insulted each other back and forth. With
Yeah,
each other.
it's
See, this is
prerequisite.
this is seriously guy code.
this is a
We're-
bro.
I'm sorry. I publicly talked about guy code. That
Talked
was
about
wrong.
dude code. Dude code be like, what?
Even the
Yeah.
guy with the green hair out there gets it.
He's
man.
like, he's shaking his head like, I don't know these
No, it's
people.
blue. Turn it. No, it's blue, isn't it? It's blue green. It's teal. That's
We
pretty,
like it. We've
pretty
got quite
freaking
a-
rocket. You should sit over there with the artists, man.
You should. You look like you belong at the art table. The art
And now
table.
it's my turn to drink your beer.
There you you sing this? Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So, we know. Everyone's super worried. The robots are going to take our jobs.
I'm not worried
No,
about that.
I'm not. Here's why. Because the
'Cause
jobs.
I'm old enough to die before they. Oh.
That's not why.
He's got enough in his
So,
401k.
That's not why. It's because the jobs that the robots are taking, no human wants. Because it's so mind-numbing that everyone quits after a week. Right? Like, put this part
I
on
want the
this
robots
thing.
to do those jobs.
Yeah.
Everyone does. Even the people, like, you look at these factories in China, it's like, put this part on here.
They want people to. They're jumping off of
Yeah.
out of windows and stuff to
They
run from their
they
factory
can't convince
job.
someone to do it for more than a week because the human mind is set to innovate. They can't do the same repetitive task. They feel like they're dying.
Which means that
So-
goes back to the education and just how important this is.
That's right.
If there's not those menial jobs, if there's not the labor-intensive
Right.
jobs, if the future,
It
and I
frees
believe it
us up.
is,
Yeah.
the future is about this organ
Right,
up here,
right.
not anything else that we
Right.
have. We're going to have to do a really good job of nurturing that.
Yeah, agree. I agree.
So if people stop being pissed off at robots taking their jobs,
Robots aren't gonna take
that will
your
be a
jobs.
very good sign for humanity.
Seriously, robots are not going to take your jobs. Robots, no. The jobs that robots can do, you do not want anyway. Seriously, you don't want that job. You're not going to do it. Even if you think you're going to do it, you're not for more than a week.
Well, and I think the younger generation, I mean, my son, he did not want to drive. I remember when I was his age, driving was a rite of passage. We wanted to do it at 14. We got fake IDs to
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
drive.
To drive. Now
Not
no
to
one
drink.
wants to
We got him to drive.
Yeah, now no one wants to
He
drive.
didn't want to drive. He could care less. My daughter could care less. They were, I'm begging them
definitely
at
a shift.
17, 18, 19.
That was like the passage into like adulthood. It
Yeah.
was like, hey, I can drive.
And so robots can do this.
Right.
That
They are.
Support your point. No one wants to do the things that robots can
No
do.
one wants to. Now people will drive for maybe fun and recreation, but not to get anywhere.
Yeah.
They're like, why? I could just like read or like do this the whole time.
Our kids our kids are going to look at us and say, "Oh my God, you drove? What are
car?
you stupid?
Like, was
oh
there
my
horses
God.
in a
You
buggy
put
too, or-
me in a car in a
that
car
you
seat?
drove? Do you know how dangerous that is?
Don't
That's
you
insane. Did you
love me,
smoke too
Mommy?
at the same time? Like, how dumb are you? Because that's how everyone
We
dies.
smoked
is
and
by-
texted and didn't wear our seatbelts.
Really?
Well, we didn't text. We didn't have text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We ate burgers and put
While
on
driving?
makeup
You
and
had to
stuff.
you had to fine tune
course
the
we
radio
did.
though.
Oh yeah, you had to
Yeah,
fine-tune
and
the
change the
radio.
channel on the
Yeah,
radio.
yeah.
They were like,
Yeah.
and you put me in
and
this death
flipped off
trap
the guy
machine.
next to us because
Yeah.
he's an asshole.
See, most young people now, they don't know where radio buttons came from.
Yeah.
It was literal buttons on the radio that actually went tink, and you push
Yeah,
one and the other one
that's
come
right.
out.
Yeah.
And people don't know where radio
Yeah,
buttons
see,
came
you're
from
older
these
than
days.
you look, man.
I had a car with radio buttons.
James and I talked about how phones used to be tethered to walls
They did.
Yeah.
Tethered.
for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, with those really, really long cords.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember when we got the 25-foot cord as opposed to the 8-foot cord.
Oh, liberating.
I could almost make it to the other end of the kitchen to talk to my girlfriend so my parents wouldn't hear. Almost
rebel.
could get there.
You rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it wound around like that, and you had to sort of, turn to
This
yeah.
conversation, people. Seriously.
All right, so let's get this back a little
Carl
bit on
will
track.
fix this. This is what he's here for.
You want to talk about technical stuff, Carl?
No, actually, I don't.
like,
you
no, I don't.
you have something to sell us actually, and I wanted to talk about it.
T-shirts.
Other than T-shirts,
Everyone's asking about these. Did you bring some?
Oh, you can't.
I
there's
do
a
have a
microphone.
bag of them.
There we
You?
go.
Okay.
Yeah, bag
All
of
right.
them.
Okay.
Yep. Charity.
Hey, all of you yesterday who are like T-shirts,
Is that what you're here for? A T-shirt?
of course.
Sweet.
And to do selfies with
I
us.
take PayPal.
all right. So you have something else to sell us, something that we can get online.
I wrote a book. I did.
Nobody writes books.
I wrote a book. She writes books.
We both write books.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
In fact,
You have a book too?
she reviewed my book.
Okay.
Reviewed his book.
She helped.
It's very
Found a
good.
couple bugs. Told me I was wrong a few times.
Just a few times.
Just a few. See, that's an improvement.
So Carl's read half your book
So
apparently.
yeah, I had to fly out here, so I had time.
Carl,
to
you put it down. I'm. Okay.
That's
I'm
it.
Okay.
Storm off, Diva.
It's okay.
Diva off the stage.
I'm okay.
Diva that way.
What sentence turned you off?
Uh-oh.
What
It
was
was
bad?
actually it was actually when the pilot
he's
says that we're
actively
landing
drinking
in
my drink.
Seattle.
Oh,
he's
okay.
drinking.
You don't
All
have-
right,
you
good,
don't-
Carl. We
Yeah, you don't have to
we're
put
good.
away books. Those aren't.
He's
Those
not
don't
drinking
count
my
as
beer.
large electronic devices.
Good. Your beer was just as good as mine.
It was better because it's
Really?
my beer. Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
So
Okay.
your book does relate to the conversation we've had today. So I thought, maybe you should just bring it up so if people wanted to check it out, they could.
So it comes from this whole idea that I watch my kids go through school, study all this STEM, and how everyone was just so focused on learn what it takes to get a job working for someone else so that you can survive.
Right.
And I thought, what's wrong with this picture? Why aren't we teaching creativity? And the fact that, my wife had to volunteer at the school to teach art just so they had art. Otherwise,
My
there
wife
was
does the same
nothing
thing.
there,
Sad,
right?
Yeah.
It does, right. It's sad. It's
Yeah.
really sad, isn't it? And so I got to kind of be very interested in this creative process because I realized that it's not my technical skill. My title is Distinguished Engineer. It's a badass title. But there's really nothing.
He's very distinguished.
She's calling me old here. There's nothing distinguished about my engineering. The thing, if anything distinguishes me, it's the quality of my ideas. It's the depth of my insight. And so I began to kind of watch myself work and understand why I was successful. And then, meeting people like Dona, the reason that, we're friends is because
We terrorize each other.
we hit it off creatively. Right? She heard,
Also
heard,
that.
heard me give a talk, and she's like, "There's some stuff." And then she
Stalking and
came up
harassing
and
kids.
caressed me.
Stalking and harassing. What did you just say? She came up and did what?
I love the translation.
But we hit it off creatively.
Yeah, this is true. This
And-
is true.
and-
I
and
said
then the
you
question
said
becomes-
one smart thing in 3 hours. I like that.
You said something smart.
No,
I thought
not
he
you.
just wants
no,
a
no,
T-shirt.
No, not pointing.
Leave this poor man alone.
No, okay. This is what I said to James. You said one smart thing.
Yeah,
I
and,
wrote it
and
down.
and it was a 4-hour talk.
He said a
and
smart
I'm like,
thing, and I wrote
one?
it down. Yeah, and I said I wrote it down.
One smart
I
thing.
never write down anything.
4 hours,
I don't-
Donna.
Hey, that's more than most.
No, 4 hours. Yeah, actually, that's
Yeah.
true. But just
pretty good
because
density.
just
He
because
said
I'm
a
better
smart
than
thing.
the zombie presenters around me doesn't
Yeah,
mean.
usually I just get up and leave, but I stayed, and I wrote down the smart thing you said.
And so I started studying these smart things and realized that creativity is really a journey and it has a start and there are some certain really important inflection points that if you don't take, you won't become creative.
Yes.
And so I started studying it, I started teaching it, started talking to smart people, smart creative people like Donna, and a pattern emerged. And it just had to come out, and so I wrote a book called The 7 Stages of Creativity. And there are 7.
There's 7.
Which is interesting because creativity is
No,
the
there's an
6th
8.
stage. Okay, but that's the
Oh,
next
yeah.
book.
You gotta buy
Donna.
the book to
the next book. Done. Don't,
hear the secret.
don't
I
won't tell-
devalue.
okay.
Oh,
Don't
that's another
devalue
one.
my current
But I
book.
don't like hiding
Oh, that's
things.
the
All right, so
secret.
there's an 8th, and the 8th is how to monetize your creativity. not just monetize, but get your creativity out to the masses.
How not to work at Walgreens while being a creative.
So what was the one thing you wrote down?
Start with the killer opening line. The
Killer
first
opening
slide
line
is the only
person.
one that
Yeah,
matters.
the only one that matters.
If you get them on slide 1, you got them.
Yeah.
And if you lose them on slide 1, they're
You're
gone.
done.
Yeah,
That was the
they're
only
absolutely
thing.
gone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the one thing I still do to this day. Everything else, he's like, wave your arms over here, stomp
That
over
first
here,
line,
and I always forget.
That first line, you could fall off the
Yeah,
stage
yes.
halfway through. That first line.
The first
You've
line
not
is
done that,
true.
have you? I've seen the heels you walk around in. If
I've
I had to
fallen
walk
off
on those
stage.
things, I would fall
I know,
off
I
stage.
haven't fallen off stage though. But the first line, the killer, you got him on the first slide, the first line, you got him.
It's the opt-in point, and so many
the opt-in,
many
yes.
presenters don't do that.
Because
just
they
say,
think
"Oh,
you're going to have another
I'm so
amazing one."
naturally interesting. Everybody's gonna love me.
Right.
This topic is so cool.
They
Everybody's gonna
start
love
off with
it."
their like credits or whatever.
Their
accolades,
resume,
Their accolades.
Yeah, don't give me your
Oh,
resume.
I hate that.
9,000
You shouldn't
data
have to introduce who you are. If you do, keep it short. And
I never
I
introduced
don't. I know.
myself, and I love the
I know.
tweets
I
are
love
like,
that.
"Who is this fucker?"
They do say
Yeah.
that.
So the other one is like, I hate it whenever they say like, here's what I'm going to talk about.
You're like,
and then
just
they walk
talk
through
about
it.
You
it.
know, that was
It's like
actually
5 minutes,
written
like,
advice.
oh.
That was written advice
Oh
by
my
somebody.
God.
I'm not going to call them out, but it's like,
It happens
tell
all
them
the
what you're
time.
going to say,
Or
say
just
it,
tell 'em.
and then tell them what you said.
You're like, just say it.
You're going to treat them like morons? Is this your
Like, just say
advice?
it.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone in the audience, you're stupid.
Yeah.
I'm smart.
That's a great way to win an audience.
Yeah.
over.
I love in my speeches, and I learned this from James as well, to relay like the dirty secrets from your own life, like all the times that you screwed up. Like tell those stories.
Yeah, personal
I love
Hey, wait,
those
parts of my
stories.
family are over there.
Oh.
Careful with those dirty secrets.
They feature a lot, so
They do. I
a
tell
lot.
stories about all of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Every last one of them.
All of them.
Yes. Every.
So before we give away too much of your book, one of the other pieces is finish strong. So
Yeah.
Jason, do you want to help us finish strong here with these the game we do every week?
Oh yeah.
game was
Okay. Oh,
What are we?
no
can I
peeking.
play? Can I
wanna
play?
No
too.
peeking.
No,
I wanna
me
play.
first.
Okay.
Quiet, hologram.
Who wants to go first?
Me.
Okay, Donna.
Do you realize this is not actually Donna Sarkar? This is a hologram. Donna
Hologram.
Sarkar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even real.
She's not here. Look, I can put my hands completely
Actually,
through her.
I have a question. I have a hologram question first.
Hi, you guys have to come be on the camera. Come hug.
Oh, here we go.
I don't care if this
You
is
can't
your
hug a hologram. It
Can't
doesn't
hug a
work.
hologram.
Yeah.
It's an object made of light.
What do you have to prove?
How are you? I'm
See,
great.
look, it went right through
Yeah,
her.
you see it? Oh, that's cool. We
Here,
live in
we'll
Seattle.
switch.
It's
We'll
standard.
switch
How
to
are
the
you?
switching to angle 2 here.
Are these Windows insiders that have just?
Well, Avi. I mean,
Yeah?
hello.
Where's
yeah.
it? I don't want to. I want to see your brand.
Oh, I'm gonna brand them now. Yeah, I brought up.
Oh, you brought tattoos for everybody? Oh,
There you
we
go. See, they're
There we go.
appropriately
All
branded.
right, what's our game?
Okay.
We have to play a game.
So
Oh, I almost cheated.
Actually, it doesn't.
Why?
There's,
Okay.
there's no right answer.
I only win when I cheat.
Okay, here we go. You need to pick a number between 1 and 4, inclusive.
and tell us.
Inclusive?
And you have to tell
so
me what it is.
five's not a possibility. is
Correct.
it? All right, I'll have
Hey,
3.
Hey, we have.
Why?
She
I
already
want
called going
3.
first.
Why?
See, she's like rules or someone else's
Yeah.
opinion.
We've had people
Why
email
between
us-
1 and 4
When I
inclusive?
originally would say
Are there
between
4
1 and
cards?
4, people would be like, "Well, that's only 2 and 3."
No, but
I don't
why?
understand
Why do we
inclusive.
have to pick a number?
But it's a safe
No,
choice.
no. Before that's
Just
why
in
I
case.
say inclusive.
The endpoints aren't
No,
included.
I say inclusive.
But why
because
do we
of
have to
that.
pick a number?
we're randomizing the
game.
seed for the game.
So
Like, why do you roll dice in Monopoly?
I don't know.
It's part of
I
the
think it's
fucking
d-
game.
Otherwise, I will
why
give
are
you
you
the
listening
question.
to like
Alright,
old
so-
rules made by Monopoly? That's
because I
dumb.
want to play the game.
No, why isn't it a wheel?
Donna doesn't want to play. Let's just play.
I want to,
Alright.
but I want to know
I
why.
picked 3.
No,
Okay, James
I'm
is
a
going
Windows
first now.
insider. We
Alright,
ask
no,
questions.
you
I don't
lost.
ask why.
We
I
ask
just-
questions.
Now-
I ask why
I
all
just
the
go,
time.
I'm a
Like,
minion.
don't tell me what to do.
Now you're going second. So James, what is
So
your number?
You go first.
3.
3.
Now you're gonna
Okay.
get the bad one.
Oh, I did that 3 already. Here's a new 3.
They've known your number was 3 for a while. Then you got the
This
bad
is a
one.
game for kids. This isn't like some intellectual thing. So
Oh.
while
That's good.
while on
That's
a
all we
camping
can
trip,
handle.
would you rather wake up with ants in your nose and ears, or with a toe in your mouth from someone else who is also
Toes.
sleeping in your tent?
Ew.
Oh, toes. I love toes. I mean, ants are not better than a human body part.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't
This week in
select
fetishes.
the toe, but you gave me that
Your
option.
family's hearing this.
We're recording, so you can play it back to them.
Oh man, it's starting to get busy in here now.
This is a great
It was
conversation.
ants versus toes. What are you going to choose?
Ants versus toes.
Okay, Donna.
Although there's good protein in ants, I hear.
Okay, which number would you like?
What's on them?
other questions that are in similar in nature.
You want to pick your question
rules.
or
She's
what?
not good
Okay,
with
go
rules.
ahead. Go ahead.
See, now I get
She's not good with rules.
I just
you
I,
rather-
I give up.
Question?
I give up.
amateur hour, children. Amateur.
No, this is
Guys,
this
I
is
get to
preference
pick my
for
question.
holograms.
No,
That's what this is.
It's
It's discrimination against
asking for
real people.
questions. Ew.
We're all going to be subservient to the holograms in the future. You see it happening right now.
He randomly chose. I want to know the question. Would you
cheating.
rather? Yeah, of course. Would you rather always read with one eye shut or talk with your teeth clenched together? I would rather read with one eye shut.
I would not.
No one asked you though.
I would
because
not choose that.
That wasn't your question because you didn't ask about.
Is this why I seem angry all the time? Listen to me.
No one can understand you, champ.
Oh, shoot.
For being a speech person.
That's too bad because I said something so profound.
No, you didn't. No, you
You
didn't.
missed it all.
Don't worry.
Software is the opposable thumb for the human mind.
Rules are someone else's opinion.
Ah, well,
You said that with both eyes open. That's cheating. See,
Reading.
holograms,
yeah.
man.
I shouldn't even ask this, but is there anything else that you guys want to mention before we let you go?
Keep hustling.
I'm gonna go fight with her.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much
you.
for coming on here. This was an awesome discussion. And now we're gonna spend a couple hours like hanging out with
Yeah.
fans,
Rolling with the peeps.
This is no longer
MVPs.
yours.
He's commandeered the beer.
Now this is awesome because we have a whole bunch of MVPs here, and I love
Hi,
it because
MVPs.
And
because-
Windows
You want
Insiders
to be
too.
on camera?
And insiders.
Jump,
They are the
jump
biggest
in.
fans.
Jump in. Hi.
How you doing, man?
How are you?
All right, is he a hologram or is he real?
Definitely a hologram. Bots.
Definitely a hologram.
We're bots.
And real.
Insider MVPs, kids. The best kind.
Oh, so
We gotta
the
brand you, though,
intersection
proper.
of insiders
Yeah.
and MVPs right here. Do MVPs have a brand, a tattoo?
No.
well, he's
No, just a button.
Yeah.
Just a button.
Oh,
We got
just a
brands.
button or
We're augmenting our humans. Look,
Yeah,
he's got
but
a
yeah,
shirt and
but
everything.
hang on a second. The MVP button gets
we
me
need
free
brands.
beer.
No, we need to brand you guys.
Does that
Yeah.
get free beer?
We have more. Oh, really good.
oh,
Really
she
good.
brought him.
All right.
Gotta
But
brand
it
all
doesn't.
our-
It doesn't get them free beer. Why? What does it do?
That's okay. They still like it. Just shut up.
No, you don't. You don't belong to the cult.
What
so
does
you
it
don't-
do? Does it
We
keep
have
them
the
from
same-
programming
Yes.
in an
No,
Apple or a
Go
Google
and
environment
sit
forever?
down
Is that
and
what
go
it
get
does?
the
Is it
health
something
thing.
insidious?
Is it laced with something?
It might be. He says, surface.
See, you need to go in a bathroom and go in the stall.
Surface.
See, you need
Yeah.
you need like
something-
you need a
Okay.
private location to apply it.
Test.
Yes.
It's definitely
They're gonna
drugs.
go and.
This is beer, I hope.
That's beer. Yeah, that's
That would be
Which one?
This is the winter ale.
The winner.
What are you
It's
going to
really
do with
winter ale.
her
Okay.
beer that became mine?
Yeah, this was no commandeered.
What are your
The
designs
beer is
on this
now-
beer?
He's like, it's almost empty, so none.
We are from Germany. Where,
I know, he's
a
like
lot
beer
of
There's actually a
beers
German.
are
There's a
there.
German
Yes.
lager on
Yeah.
tap here. Yeah.
He's like,
not a bad
beer,
one.
beer
Not
was
bad.
invented.
Not bad at all.
He's
Okay.
like, I
It's
invented
the
beer.
words
You're
like that
welcome.
fucking long
Yeah.
though. I can't pronounce
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. No,
But I think you'll enjoy it.
He's like,
That's every German
I
word.
invented beer. You're welcome. Deal with it. Good luck.
Germans have long.
Okay, well, thank you guys
All right,
so
thank
much
you.
for coming
They're
on
like,
and talking to
"Please
us.
leave."
Yeah, please leave.
They're like, this is adorable. Please go.
All right, we're out of here. Thank you, Jason.
Okay, thank
Oh,
you.
that was awesome.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. All right.